So in this video, we're going to watch Margarita Sarmignon talk about information war, conservative values, and the reason I'm showing you this is because of the conservative values, because somebody brought to my attention the other day that when the Russians talk about conservative values, they're not, I've been saying they're not really conservative values like an American conservative might experience them. He said, every time insert the phrase Soviet conservative values. That seems very, very different to American ears than like traditional values, traditional Soviet values, something very, very different. Okay, so let's talk about that. Well, let's watch this in light of that. Okay, thank you as always to the Russian Media Monitor for doing excellent work. This is the life and fate of Margarita Sarmignon. Good morning, dear Margarita. They watch you. They love you. Your companies get millions of views. Because it's the only game in town. How do you do it? Listen, actually, I shouldn't really talk about it. But I will roughly outline it. We create many sources of information that are not tied to us. That sounds eerie. While the CIA tries to figure out that they're tied to us, they already have an enormous audience. Sometimes they find them and close them. Some mornings you wake up 600 channels all at once. While they're shutting them down, we've already created new ones. But you can have fun with InfoWars. Back in the year 2017, they suddenly released a joint intelligence report by all American intelligence agencies, a joint report on the interference in the U.S. elections. My name appeared in that report 27 times, my dear. After that, I received a subpoena to testify from the U.S. Justice Department about interference in the U.S. elections. Do you think it's serious? Now, I don't travel anywhere. I vacation only at home, just in case. Also, Ukraine placed me on the international wanted list, so I sit at home and I will likely do it for the rest of my life. And I'm very glad about that. Yay! The crowds in the back clapping. When the special operation started, could you have imagined what kind of war you'd be in? Of course not. Could I have imagined that there would be 3 attempts on my life in 1 year? No, I couldn't have. Could I have imagined that I would be forced to change the circumstances of my life, to worry, be anxious, and take certain measures, and that the government would take certain measures, for which I'm extremely grateful? I couldn't have imagined that I'd be taking measures to protect my own life and family. Well, you know, it's not all that sad when you're considering that her journalism is actually having a significant impact on a war that's killing other people. So, you know, it's hard to feel pity for her in this situation. I'm a journalist. I am and I always will be. Well, that's questionable. You're a propagandist. There's a difference between journalism, which is here are the facts and here's what's happening, as opposed to making it up and tilting the story and aiming the state's full force of propaganda at a particular thing or event. Could I have imagined I would be on the international wanted list? Am I a bandit? Yes. Do I run a drug cartel? I don't know. If you are just doing your job and nothing else, you are an international criminal. No, if you're just doing your job, which is to be the chief propagandist for the Russian state, then you are. But if you're just doing your job, generally speaking, that's not the case. Worthy of being pursued by intelligence services of several countries under the auspices of Ukraine in order for me to be physically eliminated. It's me. That's how I live now. If you ask me if I could imagine this, would I still do it? I would answer yes, because at least I have the opportunity to be useful for my country. Yay! The audience cheers in the background. And the last thing I'm going to do is ask you, it may sound trite, but conservative values. Okay, this is really what I was trying to get to. The earlier stuff was just to kind of frame her and help you understand, like, what she thinking. Like, she's just, I don't feel bad for her for being feeling anxious when she's causing the grief that she's causing. Okay. Is really something we can bring to the world. This year has been declared the Year of the Family in Russia. What does that mean to you, the Year of the Family? Usually when everything is well in the country, with families, there's no need for Year of the Family. That's what I think. especially since your 2-year anniversary is in March, 2 years since you and Tigran got married. Okay, let's pause there for just a moment. So they're talking family values, and that's trying to translate over to conservative kind of ideology over in the U.S. and the West. But listen to how she answers this question. It's very telling, because these are not conservative values. Like, if you are conservative and you're watching this and you're in the family, self-identified family values kind of crowd, and you hear her, what do you think when you hear her answer what she's about to answer? Watch. Yes, on March 3rd, but it has nothing to do with family. It's an empty formality. I still don't understand why he needed it, but this time Tigran really wanted it. He proposed to me 5 times. He said, because of you, I'm under sanctions, but you aren't even my wife. Quickly, go to the registry. As an Armenian woman, I was taught to obey. Wait a minute. So your family values are that you weren't going to get married, you were just going to shack up? Is that the idea? I mean, that you made your choice, but if you're saying that that's your family, oh no, your family value is as a woman you obey, what is going on here? We already had 3 kids and lived together for a long time. You know that we live as a huge family. We live together with both of our mothers. Okay, that's a little bit more traditional in a weird way. With my sister, her husband, her kids, with our kids, my great aunt who was left alone and now lives with us and with a bunch of other people. I'm talking about family. None of our help lives with us. Oh, well, I mean, that's good to know. The servants have to live elsewhere, and that's okay. We are immensely happy. We never fight. Liar. Our every minute is filled with family bliss. Okay, so that she feels the need to even pretend like family doesn't fight with each other. It's always blissful all the time. She's lying. That she says, I don't need a marriage certificate. She's not exactly embracing family values. You can just live together, have 3 kids. That's hardly traditional. And I'm not telling you what you do in your life. I'm just saying, if she's saying that this is family values and as a good Armenian, I just obey. What? That's hardly family values either. And like, do you have your own moral compass of what conservative values are? Because what she's articulating hardly reflects what conservatives in the West actually believe about these kinds of issues. How are you able to be so big and so happy? For example, I can't disobey my mother-in-law. We live together, and if she does not like something, then I don't do it anymore. She says, you won't wear this dress again, so I won't. I come out in the morning and she says, Margot, you're going on air wearing this? No. Okay, no problem. I go and change. Okay, that just sounds like authoritarianism. That doesn't sound like family values or traditional values. It's bizarre. What's more important to me? These are simple rules. They aren't even rules. This is just how normal people live. That's it. That's what I think. This is the life and fate of Margarita Simonyan. Okay, now let's unpack what we just saw with the mother-in-law telling her what to do. What she just described as traditional values are actually values of obeying authority. And the values that they talk about as traditional or conservative values, they talk a lot about it. But when I was talking to Zach the Russian, and he confirmed this, by the way, when I asked about, so should we call traditional values, should we add traditional Soviet values? And he confirmed that that was the case. And when I talked to him a week earlier, when we did the video, the collaboration together, we were talking about this. Like, these are values in service of the Russian state. They're not standalone conservative values. So, like when she's talking about family, when I talk about family and values about family, it's because family is valuable. It's not because I'm doing this in order to serve the state. It has nothing to do with that. And I think that's where the disconnect is between family values or conservative values or whatever traditional values that she's talking about and the way that she's framing it, which is just obey authority. And it just dovetails so nicely into obey authority, like the state's authority as well. Now, she didn't say that, but that's essentially the same kind of thinking that are part of the values. Anyway, tell me what you think about this. Am I off in left field, or how am I approaching it? I feel like I'm getting closer to something here when we're talking about traditional Soviet values. Okay, thank you for your time. Thank you for the likes, the shares, and the subscribes and the coffees. And thank you for being the kind of person that cares about Ukraine.